several years ago, I watched Breaking Bad, the series, and it was it was a very interesting and in many ways difficult series, in part because the character Walter White was so terribly evil. And I saw an interview with the creators who said that one of the things they wanted to do was to have a character who had very good excuses for doing terrible things. And then one by one through the series, they would remove those excuses and to reveal that he had been wanting to do these terrible things all along, and he no longer had the justifications. And so, for those of you who haven't seen it, and I'm not going to spoil anything here, Walter White is a high school chemistry teacher who needs a lot of money for a specialist cancer treatment. And so he starts creating and selling meth. Well, eventually, and this is the only thing I'm going to spoil, eventually, the cancer is resolved. And he has other excuses too, but those are taken away one by one. And the reason I want to mention him at all is that it's the creators of the series were driving home a few points. And one of the points that they were clearly driving home was a speech that was given by 4 or 5 different characters in the the TV series at 4 or 5 different times in the series, which were basically, you destroy everything you touch. And the same is true, you can see with the series Dexter, where, excuse me, he's a sympathetic protagonist. They we care about him, but he destroys everything he touches. And there's the same speech given a couple, 3 times in that show too. And it's an important thing to remember about sociopaths and more broadly abusers, is that they do destroy everything they touch. They can destroy all the relationships. And they do a great job in Breaking Bad of showing this, that all the relationships that ramify out from, or that ripple out from Walter White, for the most part, they all get destroyed as well. And that's the same in Dexter, that everybody's life in the police department, most of the people's life in the police department, most of the people's lives in his family, most people just get destroyed. And this is something that we don't think about often enough. And it can certainly happen in our activist organizations. If you have an activist organization or any sort of organization, it doesn't matter. It could be a library, Friends of the Library group. If one sociopath comes in, they can destroy the group. And it can happen with a workspace. It's just what they do. And I remember years ago, I noticed, and I noticed this at hospitals, but it's true for other organizations too, that sometimes you go into one hospital and so many of the people are really crabby. And you can go into another hospital and, the janitors say hello to you when you walk by them, when they're, mopping the floor. And I was I was asked to go to a board meeting for Patagonia, the company, many years ago. And one of the things and everybody seemed great there. I really liked them. And I wanted to ask the human resources manager that question. It's like, how does an institution get a personality? And they said, when we hire people, we hire them based on their personality, not on their background. And so it has to do with the people. And that's the reason I tell that little story, is because it comes back to the same the same question, that if you're in an organization, and if I could give one piece of advice to anybody running an organization, it's if you allow a sociopath into your organization will get destroyed, and the relationships within the organization will get destroyed. It happens. Just watch Breaking Bad and count the number of times they give the same speech, and in this case, listen to it.